Are you resilient? You know, a lot of us think we are. We talk about it. We talk about the bounce back and how the comeback needs to be stronger than the setback. But the reality is, especially when you're in it, it can be hard. And it could seem like we are crawling out of a dark hole. But you know what? There is a way out and there is a way through, and to do it with purpose. That is what we're talking about today, is how to face resilience, how to allow it to guide you and to take you from struggle all the way through to impact. I'm Clara Capano, and this is Clarity in Action. Welcome to Clarity in Action. This is the show where we have real conversations that are going to challenge your perspectives and drive real action. So if you are tired of holding back and you're ready to make bold moves, this is the show for you. Join us as we are going to take you from confusion into clarity. Welcome back, everyone. We have a fantastic episode of Clarity in Action ahead. You know, you probably have heard the phrases such as, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down as long as you get back up. And all of that is great. But how do we do it? Especially when the hits keep coming. So today we are talking about resiliency, the beauty of it, the strategy behind it, and why it's so important to our growth and our level of productivity. And I have one of my dear friends, Pam Cass, is here with us, and she is a leadership expert. She is a high performance coach. She is a best-selling author and also a podcast host as well. So Pam, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here. And I think that this is the perfect time of year to talk about resilience, because this is a tough time of year for people going into the holidays, you know, depending on where you are in your world. And so I don't think there's a better time that we could be doing this.
You know, and it's always, I mean, we're getting into the holiday season, and this is where people tend to, you know, burn out even more. But then we say that, and then we get into the new year, and then it's like, oh, okay, now we got this next hurdle. And then we say, okay, next quarter will be different. Then we get into the summer months, and then the families are home. And it's just like that endless cycle. So what I'd first like to start off with is, why resiliency? What was sort of your moment of clarity that taught you this is where you need to be focused and this is where you can truly help people?
Um, Gosh, where did this kind of come to head? It probably came to head back in 2018, where I went through a health scare. And I realized that I kind of looked back on my life and I'm like, gosh, I've been through some stuff, and we'll just call it stuff. We're going to keep it PG. And every time I did, I had a community of people that helped me get through it. And so having that community of people, having a very, very rigid gratitude practice also helped me get through any of the challenges I've faced in my life. And then starting our podcast, you know, we've done 250 episodes and it's called Reignite Resilience, and it's all about resilience. And we have guests that we've interviewed from all over the world, and every single one of them has had some significant challenge that they faced in their life, personally or people around them. And every one of them has taken it and used it to find a purpose to do something to change the world. Yeah. And that's what resilience is about.
And I think, you know, I would like to tap into more of this, of how we can use it as fuel, because, and I know this happens for me. I'll sit down and I'll be like, work isn't going great. You know, I didn't get this gig or whatever. And I can start to feel like it's building up. And then I look at somebody else and they have it so much worse than I do. And then I feel guilty. And I think that that's also not fair, because whatever we're going through, that's what we're going through. So I would love to kind of talk about, you know, when it keeps coming, it's easy to say, oh, just get up, and oh, somebody is worse off than you. But when you're going through it, it's hard.
Yeah. And I think there's this misconception that resilience is about how quickly you can bounce back. To me, resilience is when you are in it, like in the depths of it, giving yourself permission to allow yourself to feel how you're feeling. Scared, angry, sad, deep sadness. Those are all emotions that are critical for us to allow to move through our body. And we don't. We think that, oh, I'm just gonna put on a tough face. And especially women, I think we tend to think that, oh, we got to put on that, that tough face and we're good, we're fine. And what we need to do is really allow ourselves to sit in it for a bit, not too long, but allow ourselves to sit in it so that we can feel it, allow our body to process through it, and then get to the point where it's like, okay, what's the lesson I've learned here? Or what can I use out of this to help inspire or to grow myself?
Yeah.
I think Oprah is the one that says traumatic growth. I think sometimes when we're going through tough adversity, that's when the traumatic growth happens. And I think it's vital.
I love that. I like the idea of, again, letting yourself feel and then looking for the lesson. I want
Mm.
to hit on the concept that you talked about of putting on this face and being strong and
Yeah.
how that's not always doing it. And I want to kind of take it from a leadership perspective because I think a lot of times, and we're all leaders, whether we're leading a team, leading ourselves, leading our families, whatever it may be, and we have other people counting on us.
Yeah.
And how do we reconcile between the giving ourselves permission to feel and go through the experience at the same time we have other people looking at us, and if we fall apart, that doesn't build a lot of strength for them.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting. So I read a book years ago. Gosh, it was probably 2017, Brene Brown's Dare to Lead. And that was really a life-changing book for me. And here's why. I'd been in leadership my whole life up to that point. And I always felt like I had to be stoic, nothing, frazzled me, anything I could just take it and it was going to be fine. It was like a water off a duck's back. And in that book, it talks about authenticity and being vulnerable as a leader. And so I did a presentation in front of our company. There were probably 100 people there. And it was a very vulnerable story about an event that I went through and my challenge in going through it. And what that does when you show vulnerability, when you show that you are actually a human as well as the people that are working with you and under you, that you become relatable and you instantly build connection and trust. And so now I'm not talking about showing up at meetings and being a blubbering fool and crying and blah, blah, blah. But it is sharing with people that you are a human too. You go through struggles and challenges. And when you're leading and there's something going on in your industry that scares you and is challenging you, be okay letting people know, look, I don't have all the answers. I'm terrified, but we're going to go through this together and I'm going to help lead us through it. And so I think that when you can allow yourself the permission to be vulnerable and show that you are actually a human as well, that's when you will create that trust with the people that work for you and around you that will take your company
Yeah.
everywhere and
And
anywhere.
I think that that is so true. I also think, and you hit on this a little bit, there's a fine line between being resilient and playing the victim card.
Yes.
And so, as a leader, how do you guide your team? Like, if you have somebody and they think, oh, I'm being vulnerable, this is strength, and I'm doing this, but it's kind of like you're not, you're being a victim. How do
Yeah.
you cut that and get them back into the right mindset? Like, how do you interrupt that step and get somebody from victimhood into strength?
Yeah. And that is tough, I will tell you, because victims tend to always be victims. Players tend to always be players. As a leader, when you are going to be vulnerable and share some struggle that you're going through, there's got to be, here's the struggle, here's how it impacted me, and here's how I did this to get to the other side. So there's got to be this plan like, oh, I can trust you because you've gone through something. You went through a really difficult divorce and you were able to go through it. You were in the depths and you came out on the other side. And here's what you did.
Mhm.
Because I want to follow somebody that not only knows what I've gone through, but is actually on the other side of it. And I might be able to learn or be able to grow because of that relationship. So that's the role of a leader.
Mhm.
You have to, yes, I'm terrified about this, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on this, this, and this, because I'm going to help lead us through this.
Yeah.
That's who people will follow. The
Mhm.
victim, nobody's going to follow them. And as a matter of fact, people will just tune that out and not
Mhm.
listen to it. So, and as far as how do you help people that are victims, if you can get them to lean into a really strong gratitude practice, very robust, meaning it's like 3 new gratitudes every single day. And I will make people send them to me every morning. Send me 3 new ones every single day. And if I don't hear from you, you will hear from me. Because what you'll do in 21 days, you will totally rewire your brain to find the good in things before you find the bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're going to be Pollyanna, but you'll find the good. You'll find the silver lining in that hard time that you're going through, and that'll help get you through. And you'll be able to go through that process a lot quicker. Feel
So
the pain, and then get out quicker.
So talk more about the science behind gratitude, because I think a lot of people, it's so woo woo and they're like, oh, saying I'm grateful. Oh, I'm grateful for this cup of coffee. I'm grateful for, it can
Yeah.
seem so silly to people, but there is scientific proof. And you mentioned this, it's about the rewiring. So can you talk a little bit more about that and how important it is to resiliency?
Yeah. So when you are in a place of where there's no gratitude, you've got this neural pathway. When something bad happens, you'll find the negative because our brain has biases. One of them is negativity bias, and it's probably one of the strongest one. It's probably one of the ones that we all fight with the most. Is we will find the negative in something before we find any sort of positive. And so by doing that reprogramming every day, it completely creates a new neural pathway because our brain is plastic. It can form new neural pathways, but it takes a lot of time and energy, and you can't give up on it. And so I have 2 instances in my life where I leaned into gratitude. One was when I was going through my divorce. I had to move out of our house. We had to sell it. I had to move back in with my parents. I was in my 40s and I had not lived with them since I was in high school. I didn't have my own space. I didn't have my workout routine. And so I made it a point that I was going to do a gratitude walk, which became a run later on, every single day. I didn't care the weather. So I would be out there in my Sorels, snow pants, goggles, hat, gloves, sometimes in a blizzard walking because I'm like, I'm doing this every day. And when I started, I was like, I got nothing to be grateful for. I'm living with my parents. And so it was freaking hard. And I had to just, okay, I'm grateful I woke up today. Okay, I'm grateful this coffee is hot. Okay, I'm grateful that it's snowing outside. And so every day I would come up with these new gratitudes. And it was the weirdest thing. There was just like this shift where I started noticing things that I hadn't been noticing. I
Mhm.
started noticing the birds singing. I started noticing the clouds in the sky. And one day, it was probably 20 days in, I caught myself saying, I'm grateful for my husband. And we were still married at the time. We hadn't been divorced yet. And I was like, why would you say that? It was like this internal dialogue. Why would you say that? And then I was like, because you are who you are today because of this marriage. And you got 3 amazing kids. So I'm grateful for this relationship. As soon as I did that, there was almost like this release of any anger and resentment that I had towards my ex husband. And the next time I saw him, it was like he was just another person who happened to be in my life. But I had no connection to him of any hate or anger or anything. And this gratitude practice showed up again when I was diagnosed with cancer. And I was like, okay, here we go. What do I got to be grateful for? And every day I came up with my gratitudes. And after all of my surgeries and treatments, I would go to 2 doctors a week, an oncologist and the general surgeon. Every time I went, they're like, you're healing faster than most people we've seen. And that's because your body can heal when you are in a place of gratitude. When you're in a place of fear, anxiety, you're at high cortisol. And when you're at high cortisol, it takes away from your body's ability to heal. And so that it is truly something that works if you lean into it and do it correctly.
Yeah, so powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Clarity in Action is proudly sponsored by Telehealth for Her, where women's health finally gets the attention it deserves. At Telehealth for Her, they offer professional, comprehensive medical care designed to optimize your hormones, restore your gut health, and boost your energy. Because let's get real, who doesn't need more energy? Your body is the foundation of everything you build. So let's make sure we are fine tuning it for optimal performance. So if you've been out there crushing it in life, but still feeling a little bit off with some of that brain fog, hormone changes, sleepless nights, or emotions that are all over the place, I'm here to tell you, you are not alone. Telehealth for Her helps ambitious women just like you take back control and feel like yourself again so that you can keep leading with purpose and power. Check them out at mariahprinceallen.com or telehealth for her and start your journey back to a vibrant, unstoppable you. Clarity in Action is proudly sponsored by My Cluck Hut. Yes, the soap company that is the one your mother should have warned you about. Now, don't let the name fool you. This eco-friendly soap company will get you clean without feeling dirty. But you know what? My Cluck Hut is about more than just getting clean. They have built and continue to grow a community that gives a cluck about the planet, about people, and about creating a reality where diversity and sustainability are not a pipe dream, but fundamental core values. So when you shop with My Cluck Hut, you're not just buying soap, you're choosing to be a part of something bigger than any one of us can be alone. So if you believe in shopping with purpose and from a brand that isn't afraid to speak truth to power, then go check them out, mycluckhut.com. The 2025 Tennessee Pride Chamber Allied Business of the Year. My Cluck Hut, it's more than a soap company, it's a clucking revolution. Now, one of the things that you also were bringing up in that lovely story you just shared was when you were moving back in with your parents, you're like, I don't have my space, I'm off my routine. I want to hit on routine. How important is a routine in building resiliency?
So for me, a routine is all about consistency. It's something that I can depend on. It's my space and time to just be quiet with myself. And so my routine, it goes with me when I'm traveling. I don't care what I'm doing. It happens Monday through Sunday. So it's not like something just during the week. And it is a good hour-long routine of me just laser focused. And here's the thing. I don't turn on my phone or look at my phone for that first hour of the day. And so many of us are addicted to that adrenaline rush they get when they open up the phone and they've got likes and they're on social media and they watch those videos and they get that dopamine hit and they're like, ooh, this is so fantastic. But what you're doing is you're just putting yourself in this heightened state of this need for this constant activity. So when you're able to just be quiet and still for a period of time in the morning, and maybe your routine's at night, everybody's different. I'm a morning person.
Mm-hmm.
Taking that time and giving that to yourself is the ultimate self-love. And when we give ourselves self-love, we show up as the best version of ourselves for other people that are around us, whether we're leading, whether we're customer service, we're a parent, we're in a relationship, any of those things. We can't give our best selves to other people if we don't take care of ourselves.
So true. I love that. So this whole path on resiliency and sharing with others, not only did it, ignite your podcast, it also kind of led to a book that you have just published with your partner, Natalie. So tell us a little bit about your book and how this ties into all this messaging.
Yeah. So it's funny when we decided to do a book, we were going to do a resilience handbook. And so it was going to, each chapter was going to be on some sort of adversity. And we were going to use some quotes and things that we learned from some of our guests. And we got to about 64 pages where I'd write some, she'd write some, we kind of blended them together. And then we both like just hit this wall. And then we just didn't talk about it for like a couple of months. And I was like, what is happening? Like, why are we stuck in this? And one of my coaching clients sent me a book, Thomas, who is out of Florida, great realtor down in Jacksonville. And he sent me the book called The Energy Bus. And The Energy Bus, it's a small book and I couldn't find it on Audible. So I'm like, well, shoot, I'm going to have to read it. And I like to Audible because I don't have time to read. And so I was like, you know what? He sent it to me. I'm going to honor it. I'm going to read it. So I'm like, let me just read a chapter a night. Well, the story is written like a story. The book is written like a story.
Like a
so
fable.
It's very much a fable kind of a thing, but it's got a beautiful message. And it is one of multiple books in a series. And so I called my business partner, Natalie, and I said, hey, what do you think about throwing away what we've written so far and writing a series of books, smaller, digestible books that are written like a story? And she goes, well, I don't know how to do that. And I'm like, well, I don't either. And so she was heading out of town to go on a vacation because it was during the holidays. And I was like, come by, grab the book, take it on your trip, read it. And so she read it. And I was like, let me take a stab of doing this while you're gone. And so I just started writing. And so this book is my childhood story. So from the age of 7 through college. And I wanted to make it a little fably, so it is truly my story, but I added a fictional character named Sam. And Sam can be whoever you want him to be. He could be God, he could be your spirit guide, he could be your inner voice, he could be a pet. For me, this was my cat, Tom. Tom was my best friend, always there for me, loved me unconditionally. And so it can be whoever you want it to be. And Sam shows up throughout the story, giving the main character, Emily, some words of wisdom. And he gifts her a tattered leather journal at the very beginning of the book. And that journal disappears and shows up when she's going through a challenge. And when she opens it, there's always a prompt in there for her to write. And so throughout the book, she's writing in her journal. And at the very young age, when she was just diagnosed with dyslexia, the first journal entry is written like a dyslexic would write. So this words are all messed up and spelled wrong. But over time, it gets easier for her. So it's just kind of her progression through the years. And so it's being made an audiobook right now. So fate has it that I promoted the book, and somebody I went to high school with, Kristen Aiken, who I've not seen or talked to since '89. She does voiceovers, and she goes, I'd love to create it as an audiobook. And so she's working on it now. And so
Love it.
that'll launch at the beginning of the year. So
That's fantastic. And what's the title of the book?
the book is called The Quiet Gift.
Quiet Gift. And they can get that on Amazon, on your website, all that good stuff.
Well, Amazon and website. And I actually just finished. We are going to have a red journal that goes along as a companion, and it'll be a journal for 90 days, and it'll have a daily journal prompt and then a weekly reflection as well. So, and then the second book will come out the first of the year. Natalie's working on that. That is her story. And then I'm going to start writing the next story for Emily. So,
I love that. What a great testament to, again, not only your personal path, but unlocking others. And I know those fable type stories are very popular.
yeah,
And again, because people can see themselves in it. And
yeah,
no matter if it's our story, someone else's, we're all connected and
yeah.
we can always, help each other. So this has just been a beautiful discussion. So many great nuggets in here. Again, the power of understanding. And one of the things I wrote down is, again, it's the struggle, the impact, and the lesson.
Yeah.
And you've brought so much of that to us today. So I have one last question before I say goodbye to you today. And that is, sitting where you sit today, how
Yeah.
do you now define success for yourself?
Um, the impact that I make on other people's lives every day.
Yeah. So true. Well, you're doing that. You do that for me. You do that for so many others. So keep sharing your gift. And we'll have the link to your show, the link to your book, all those good things in the show notes. So I encourage everyone to stay connected. And Pam, it is just truly an honor to have you in my circle. You are one of the best gifts I have ever received. And just wishing you, Natalie, so much success in your continued efforts.
Thank you. Feeling is mutual, my friend.
I just think this is a topic that so many of us need to hear and come back and re-listen to. So many things that she talked about that were just really powerful, and I took lots of notes. I think the first thing is you can't rush it. I think too many of us try to shove it down, try to ignore it, try to just say, oh, it'll pass. You got to feel it. You got to let yourself go through it, and you've got to acknowledge it. Again, don't let yourself get into victimhood, but to allow yourself. And I love when she said, that it's okay to have transparency and it's okay to say, okay, I don't have all the answers and this is what I'm going to do. The things that I wrote down is that, we go through it and she says, the struggle leads to the impact, which then leads to the lesson, and allowing us to get there and to reflect on what is the lesson from this. I love that she talked about a gratitude practice. I can't say it enough. It really is a strong answer. And I know for a lot of people, it seems kind of hokey, but it really does change how you program and how you see the world, because the reality is you will create whatever it is you expect. So if you expect it to be difficult, you're going to find more difficulty. So let's expect the gratitude and the abundance. And then, the three things she talked about is, gratitude, routine, and community. Resiliency, it needs to happen. It is a strength in us. It is a way for us to grow stronger and also a way for us to impact and to share. We're all going to go through it. So you don't need to go through it alone. So I hope you took notes, and I really encourage you, share this one, because I guarantee you there is someone in your circle, whether you know it or not, who is going through a time, and this message could be just the thing they need to hear. So thanks for being here. Stay tuned for another episode next week. I'm Clara Capano, and this is Clarity in Action.